Hello, the recording is in progress. That is my aim today. I had the recording in progress. I see I'm a bit fuzzy. That's fine. It's not about looking at me. The aim of this show today is about aims. And as Gurdjieff says, there are people who hunger and thirst for truth. Are you one of those that hunger and thirst for truth? And if you are, then you've been reading the Gurdjieff work, then you know a lot about how he talks about we need aims. Small aims lead to bigger aims. We start off with small aims as we're doing the work, little things, trying to remember ourselves, observe ourselves, do exercises to relax your body so that you can take in all the various vibrations and energies that are coming in. Small aims of, being aware of yourself and how you're working with certain people. All these little aims get us going on the work until we can start reaching for bigger aims. And Gurdjieff said one of the main problems with people starting this work was that aims were too big. We should always start with little aims. A lot of people come to me saying, what is my aim? Well, I can't decide that for you. We decide our aims ourselves. But then there is the question of, well, what sort of aim should I be aiming for, as they say? What am I aiming towards? So I looked a few things up. And I'm going to start with, I've dropped my page, my bookmark. Right, Views from the Real World, page 81. So this is Gurdjieff. You alone can decide what it is that you wish to do. Search into your heart for what you most desire. And if you are capable of doing it, you will know what to do. Think well about it and then go forward. So back to that pondering on our aims and what it is we want to do. Pondering on what it is we're getting from this work and what we want them results to be. And I think for myself, a lot of my aims at the beginning were to try and just achieve small results and to see the difference. And I've said before in other shows, this isn't suddenly all happens just like that. You don't notice you changing and that you're working towards doing the work for a while. It takes a few weeks, maybe some months, possibly a year. It's different for everybody. But then when you look back on yourself, when you started doing the work and how you was before, you'll start noticing the difference in yourself if you are doing things correctly. So you have to really ponder on what you want your aim to be is. And as he's saying here, think about it. Look deep into your heart. Do it with love. So page 59 of Views from the Real World. Do not forget to concentrate all your attention on the nearest sector of the way. Do not concern yourself about far aims if you do not wish to fall over the precipice. And that happens, I'm going to break into that quote there, a lot. I know people go rushing into this work and then they fall over the precipice because it's not giving them the results they want immediately. But they're expecting too much, working in a kind of a wrong way. It's not too hard on themselves, but it's kind of working in a way that's well, it's just not doing it properly. And we push ourselves and then we give up. And I've met many people give up over the years. They do come back, some of them, thankfully. Sometimes we need to have a break from doing this kind of thing to suddenly realize and go out into the world and see what's going on and then realize, no, I want to work on myself, and come back and work on yourself. Which is why you've got to do small aims at the beginning, because if you do big aims, you're pushing yourself too hard, too fast, and you fall over that precipice because you don't see that precipice there. You're too busy running towards it. Maybe you think you're going to jump the ravine and land on the other side and get all the results you need. Hopefully people understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to continue with this quote. Yet do not forget your aim. Time is precious and should not be wasted on things which have no direct relation to your aim. And that's the other thing I find with aims. You get easily distracted from them. Things happen and you get easily distracted. Forget about it. You're caught up in something else, whether it's the rat race, your family. We've had all these excuses before. Someone distracts you, new lover, get a new pet, too busy working with that. We get distracted and we begin to forget our aim. Or, which sometimes used to happen to me, I'm still reading all the Gurdjieff work or Spensky work or Nicole, and I find something else that takes my attention for a while, and I forget that aim, start working on a different aim. Sometimes that helps, working with a few aims going at the same time, but it can also cause confusion. And now I'm sounding all confused about it. Or what is the best thing to do? Again, it's down to what you feel is right. As I said in that first quote, you need to ponder on it. You need to think with your heart, open that heart chakra and let the work come into it and work around it, and then comes back out into you and works on yourself. And as I was saying before, many people, their first aim is normally self-observation. Gurdjieff says, self-observation is very difficult. Objectively, you cannot see yourselves for a single minute because it is the function of the master. If you simply realize that you cannot, it will be right. To come to it is your aim. To achieve this aim, you must try and try. When you try, the result will not be, in the true sense, self-observation. But trying will strengthen your attention. You will learn to concentrate better. And if you look back on the shows I used to do with Tony Blake, and some more will be coming soon, I kept saying about trying, and he kept saying do. And he's right, you know, we try. At some point, hopefully we're doing. I used to talk about fake it till you make it. You know, practice makes a shit hot guitarist and all that kind of thing. You've got to work at it, you try. At some point, you're going to move on to the doing. You're doing it, and maybe it surprises you. You suddenly think, I am doing it. So views from the real world, page 91. Take a small thing which you are now not able to do and make this your aim, your God. And Gurdjieff talks a lot about making your aims your God. It's something you really want to. I think he used to say to people, write it on a piece of paper and keep looking at it and treat it like your God. You know, this is what you want to do. This is your aim. And then that aim will move you on to the next aim. It will move you on and on and on. As I've said before, it's an ongoing work, this. And I do notice people are looking for a quick answer, thinking everything will suddenly be, ta-da, done. It's not. You can look at any work of any kind, any hermetic work, any alchemical work, any Gnostic work. It's continuously working on yourself. You know, this is why all the monks in Tibet are continuously meditating, continuously praying. We can easily be distracted, and we need to keep on and on and on. So Gurdjieff continues in Views from the Real World. Man consists of 3 men. Each has a different character, different nature, and suffers from lack of correspondence with the others. Our aim must be to organize them so as to make them correspond. And that's a fantastic aim to have, to try and get all your centers aligned and all them different eyes within us together so that they all come under the master. Well, deputy steward first, then the master. So these are all just suggestions for aims, but you've got to find the one that suits you. But I'm going to go on with some more quotes from them about aims. Again, from Views from the Real World, page 241. A teacher with real knowledge can only help you when you wish in the right way. Crossing from one stream to the other must be your aim. But this also is too far off. So we must have as our aim the capacity to wish. And this aim can only be attained by a means who realizes his own nothingness. Now, I'll put 2 different versions of the 2 rivers chats by Gurdjieff up. Both say the same thing, obviously, but said in different ways. And wishing is another really important part of your Gurdjieff work. We wish to be able to do this work. You know, you wish, you can, you do. But you need to really wish and mean it, not just a little wispy wish, wish with all your being. All my bookmarks fell out from my books, but let me just get myself together. Right. This is from Meetings with Remarkable Men. I wish to create around myself conditions in which a man would be continually reminded of the sense and aim of his existence by an unavoidable friction between his conscience and the automatic manifestations of his nature. And this is the kind of work Gurdjieff was doing, obviously, at the Priory and with his different groups. And we haven't got a Gurdjieff here to help us. Well, I suppose we could pray to him and ask him to come down and help us. Then maybe he'll guide you to the right way, or maybe ask him in your prayers what your aim should be. But he was obviously trying to make the conditions right. And we have the conditions at the moment to do all this work in our everyday life. The conditions are there for us to use to work towards our aim. Right, from In Search of the Miraculous. Ouspensky writes, I want to be master of myself. I should like to work in order to exist after death. I should like to help people. I should like to be a Christian in the true sense of the term. I should like to know how to stop wars. I want to know the future. You know, these are just some of the things I wanted as well. These are small, well, they're big aims, because a lot of them we're unable to do as we are. But if we became man number 4 or man number 5 or man number 6, then we can perhaps start working at these kind of aims. But since we're not man 5 or 6, hopefully we're man number 4 because we're questing towards this kind of work, then our aims can be of a way of helping ourselves aim towards these kind of aims. But then Ouspensky reminds us the aim must be the same for all. This aim is the realization of one's nothingness. And he says, the work of every man can proceed in 3 directions. He can be useful to the work, he can be useful to me, and he can be useful to himself. And that's 3 aims in one there for us, which is what Gurdjieff was trying to strive towards for his aims. And these are the aims that we should be working at. You know, many people come to this work because they do want to help humanity. But we have to help ourselves as well. We have to help his endlessness. And then Ouspensky reminds us that Gurdjieff told him, freedom, liberation, this must be the aim of man, the desire to be master of oneself. It must be man's aim to begin to study himself. The Gurdjieff system defines an aim for every individual, which is the attainment of self-consciousness and a measure of objective reason. The idea is to relate every action to purposive conduct, which alone can give meaning to an otherwise mechanical life. Real pride begins with the work of an I. It is the being satisfaction of having made real effort. And that was told to C.S. Knott by Orage. You know, the satisfaction from doing this work shouldn't be an ego satisfaction, but it should be a satisfaction in that we're doing the work and we're aiming towards becoming a more centered person and a real I. But not in a prideful, look at me kind of way. That's wrong crystallization. It's a different kind of satisfaction. It's a satisfaction more for yourself. You're not showing it off to everybody else, of that you are doing the right thing. I haven't explained that very well. And then actually, I was talking about aims with someone quite a few weeks ago, and I've just suddenly remembered that they were discussing a lot, oh, my aim is to try and get attention. And that's a fantastic aim to have, you know, to try and have the attention to do this work, to be attentive. You know, Gurdjieff talks about attention all the time. Where is your attention? We should be able to split our attention up. He does exercises about this in various of his, the recordings. No, that's Ouspensky. I think it's the talks in Paris or the wartime talks. He talks a lot about attention. You know, that's a great aim to have, to work at your attention. So let's do some all and everything. All and everything, page 130. The fundamental aim and sense of the existence of these beings is that there must proceed through them the transmutation of cosmic substances necessary for what is called the common and cosmic trogo-auto-egocratic process. The needful striving for self-perfection, which should be in every free brain being, and that's what we're trying to attain to, self-perfection. That's the big aim, but to get to that, we need to make all the little aims, work at different parts of ourselves. As I said, actually, I think I said it in one of the other shows, don't concentrate on just one part of the Gurdjieff work. You need to work on all the different parts of the Gurdjieff work to make it work. You know, there's lots of little bits that come together. It's like lots of little pieces of the jigsaw to make the whole picture. And all them little pieces are your small aims. And as the picture gets filled up, it gets to bigger and bigger aims. All and everything. All and everything, page 386. The striving from the beginning of their existence to pay for their arising and their individuality as quickly as possible in order afterwards to be free to lighten as much as possible the sorrow of our common father. That's a big aim, but at the same time, doing this work makes that aim happen. You know, and the common father, his endlessness is sending out to us, and our higher selves are sending down to us. And we need to have an aim that we can open up and listen and hear what they're saying from above and be part of this cosmic process. But Gurdjieff, when he was writing all these books and doing these exercises and preparing all this, said this, and this is in his From the Author chapter, when he was explaining why he's doing this. At the present time, I have but one aim, namely specifically to clear up for myself all the details of the manifestation of the human psyche. Well, I know I spend a lot of time, one of my major aims was trying to understand my psyche. Know thyself, as the Hermetic axiom goes. You know, once you know yourself, you'll see that you change all the time. Then you have to know every different I and every different version of yourself, but know thyself. You want to find the real self, the real you, the essence that's in you. And strive for self-perfection. And all and everything, page 783, begin to consider the absorption of these foods as the chief aim and sense of their existence. That absorption, Gurdjieff talks a lot about how we absorb three things: air, food, and impressions. We need to absorb them, let them work on ourselves, and then how we deal with them makes the right energies happen. If we're not working with it correctly, we create tension, chaos, and all the wrong feelings, and then we crystallize in the wrong way. But if we can absorb them rightly, I don't really understand the table of hydrogens and things like that. But if you understand that kind of thing, that will help you to understand how to absorb the energies. Otherwise, read the books. I know other people do shows, go and check them out. Right, all and everything, page 823. They almost became such as free brain beings everywhere on the planets of our great megalocosmos, because who choose the same aim, that is to say, those who carry out all their studied researches not for the satisfaction of their what are called vainglorious, proud and self-loving weaknesses, as is done by the beings there, particularly the contemporary ones who choose the same field for themselves, but for the attainment of a higher gradation of being. A higher gradation of being is what we're aiming at. That's what we're attaining to. Each one of us must set for his chief aim to become, in the process of our collective life, a master, acts manifested according to the dictates of his pure reason alone. That was page 1236. Pure reason, right consciousness. listening to our conscience. All these are aims we can be aiming towards. And then all and everything, page 1186, the highest aim and sense of human life is the striving to attain the welfare of one's neighbour. This is possible exclusively only by the conscious renunciation of one's own. A man who has in general set himself the aim to mentate actively, impartially. A man may attain something, some special powers, and may later on sacrifice these powers in order to raise some other people to his level. If the people with whom he is working ascend to his level, he will receive back all he has sacrificed. And Gurdjieff talks a lot about the ladder. We should always have someone behind us on the ladder as we're going up the ladder and someone's ahead of us. We're all helping each other in this aim. And I suppose that's why I was doing these shows. You know, I struggle with the work as well. And I know there's people out there that struggle on their own. But this is kind of to remind you that you can do this and to encourage you to keep at it and don't give up. In Search for the Miraculous, Ouspensky says, when a man has an aim, he ought to do only what leads him towards his aim. Maybe that's my aim tonight, today, whatever time of day it is. I'm sorry my camera's so fuzzy. I'd even bought a new camera and everything, but hey, my aim was to try and get the words across. Looking at me is not important. Thank you, everyone. Keep aiming at what you need. Aim upwards, aim high.